Heather Jacobs, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the trustee of the Board of Education to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the trustee of the Board of Education to the best of my ability. Thank you.
You could sign the book too. Right there. Thank you.
You keep these.
It doesn't matter.
I, Douglas R. Schofield, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the Superintendent of the Iroquois Central School District according to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Thank you. You could sign the book. Thank you. And I now open up nominations for the President of the Board of Education for the 2021-22 school year.
I'd like to nominate Sharon.
Second.
I would like to say something. I have loved being vice president and love being president, but I am going to respectfully decline the nomination. My professional obligations in the upcoming year and the amount of time in the office don't make it possible for the next year for me. So, thank you.
I would like to nominate Jean Sullivan.
Okay. And Jane?
We have to vote, and
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know if we have discussion on this. No.
No.
You're supposed to open it to see if anybody else.
To open it and see anyone else.
Anyone else? Want to nominate anyone else?
I nominate Michelle Huff.
Thank you, Louise. I truly appreciate that, truly. And I also am going to respectfully decline that. Thank you.
Anyone else? We could have a vote. All in favor of Mrs. Sullivan for president, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone not in favor, say no.
No.
And abstain. Anyone abstaining?
Anyone abstain? Okay. Congratulations.
What's your cord? Do you want to move over there so there's more room? Or wait for Vice President? No. Or Chuck or anyone. I'm not just you're stuck out the corner and see. I mean, she just seems stuck out the corner. You just seem stuck out the corner.
Okay.
And it's hard for me to see you.
That's okay.
I, Jane Sullivan, do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of President of the Iroquois Board of Education according to the best of my ability. And where do I sign this? Do I sign that?
No, you'll have to sign the book. We'll just do it at the end.
All right, so then I'd like to open the floor for nominations for vice president.
I think these jobs are really sought after.
Can you explain what the duties are of the vice president?
I would like to make a nomination. I nominate Louise to.
The duties of the vice president would be to they come to the pre-board meetings for the agenda, and then if the president is unable to attend the meeting, they would stand in their place to run the meeting. And if the president is unavailable to sign, like some contracts or something every once in a while, then they would sign those documents. That last one is probably very rare, because I don't think it ever happens, because we can usually wait a week or so. Is there anything I'm missing, Cindy? No, that's it.
Is it appropriate for me to nominate someone?
Yeah, I think so. I don't see why not.
Okay, I'd like to nominate Chuck Speck. And so we need a second for Louise, and we need a second for Chuck. We need a second for Louise. Anyone? Okay, and a second for Chuck. Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to be considered? Okay. Then I would vote for Louise.
Vote for Louise, and then we'd vote
Okay,
for
those-
Chuck.
Those in favor of Louise, say aye. We have 2. And those in favor of Chuck?
She vote
3.
for herself.
Okay, that's fine, 3. And for Chuck, 4. Okay, so Chuck will be our vice president.
I, Charles Speck, do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Vice President of the Iroquois Board of Education according to the best of my ability.
Okay, before I take motions to approve 3.25 through 3.30, we do need to determine who would like to fill the positions for our Erie County Association of School Boards. So that would put us, we're looking at 3.25, a delegate for the Erie County Association of School Boards Assembly.
And remember, there's 3.25 all the way through 3.3 that we'll be doing this for, so
You know, I should.
I mean, you can volunteer for all of them if you want. I'm just making sure you're aware that there's multiple choices, multiple chances.
And underneath the line, you'll see who was the person who represented us last year. So who would like to be our delegate this year? Heather. Excellent. Jumping right in. Love it. And we need an alternate to Heather when Heather can't attend.
I'll be the alternate.
Okay. We also need a representative to the Erie County Association of School Boards Legislative Committee. Who would like to take that? Good.
That's fine.
Good at that, Michelle. Okay, and then the alternate to Michelle, when Michelle can't attend? Louise, okay. And then a representative to the Erie County Association of School Boards Finance Committee?
I'll do that again.
Okay. And the alternate? I'll take it.
But Louise was interested too.
You want to be the alternate? Okay. All right. And didn't we agree that we were going to nominate and elect somebody to be our representative for?
Louise. No, that's
Yeah, for the New York State School Board Association.
Oh, the delegate?
Yeah.
We can do that now,
Who
yeah?
does our vote? I thought
can
we
add
were
that.
supposed to do that. So I have to add that to the agenda? Okay, so can I have a motion to add to our agenda, electing somebody to be our delegate, our voting delegate at the New York State School Board Association?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So we add that to the agenda, and then let's discuss who wants to be that person.
And this is, just for the people that are new, this is the state organization that, at the, wherever they have their convention this year, is at New York City, where you would vote and represent Iroquois during that vote.
Yeah, and also, in past years, the way that they worked it, whoever was the voting delegate needed to stay at the convention later, because the meeting of the board takes place on the very last day, and I think it's like after the first session. My understanding is that they're changing that up, and I believe it's going to be virtual, so, the extra time commitment is, should not be there.
I also heard
It was virtual this year.
Yeah,
and
this year was virtual,
was-
and I think they're gonna
It
carry it
ran
over.
really well, and
Yeah.
it's really interesting. You get to hear the state school board association's legislative priorities, and you vote on them, like this is what the school boards want to advocate for or not, and it's interesting.
Can I make a suggestion that since you're going to be our legislative representative, that you also, would you be willing?
Yeah, if nobody else wants to, I will, but if somebody else wants to do
Somebody
it,
else
I'm
wanna
okay
do
with
it?
When is
that.
that meeting go legislative?
The New York State School Board one is just that.
That one
One
meeting
meeting.
in
Yeah,
October?
it's just that one meeting. The Erie County Association of School Boards normally will disseminate all of the proposals to all the school boards, within Erie County. And then they discuss it as a group, what the Erie County Association of School Boards, supports at the state level and what they don't. We can discuss it as well, as a school board, what we personally, as a school board, would want to support. And then that goes to, you're basically just there. They read all of the proposals. People get up and speak for, or virtually
Against, yeah.
they'll speak for or against the particular proposal, giving the reasons, behind it, and then it goes up for a vote. There's usually quite a number of proposals, so.
I would assume it would be in October still.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure, I'm trying to remember. I think they may be doing that vote prior to the convention.
Yeah, 'cause I don't have information.
It might, yeah. Yeah, but I
Well, the
believe
convention,
it is
isn't the convention
before
like Monday, Tuesday? Sunday, Monday,
Sunday,
Tuesday,
Monday,
so
Tuesday. So it's probably,
the week before?
yeah, the end of the week before. I just can't find the email on it. Quick enough.
I'd be happy to do. And if I can't, then I'm sure somebody else will.
Should we name an alternate for that position as well then, just in case?
Yeah.
It just makes it easier than trying to scramble for somebody at the last minute.
It's,
Yeah, do they recognize the alternate for the voting purposes?
I'm not sure if they do or not. That's a good point.
Well, we've never had to nominate somebody before, so.
Yeah.
that's right.
So it's not enough, it isn't to nominate.
I think it's just a representative.
Yeah, it's
from
just a
the board.
representative. Every school
Yeah.
board gets one representative,
Okay.
and they're very, the name of the individual, though, has to be submitted prior, to the meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
But then we would know which name to submit. We would know if this
Right,
person can't
exactly.
make it, we submit
Exactly.
the alternate,
Right.
which is something you have to remember to do.
I just think it makes sense if
Look, he's
Michelle's our representative at Erie County, she'll be up on all of what's going on and
Absolutely.
She remembers
whatnot.
half
That
of it.
makes sense, right?
Really, yes.
So,
So,
And her alternate for that is
we'll
Louise. So we could do the same that we're doing for Erie County with Michelle,
Sound
and
good?
then
All
Louise
right.
is the alternate?
So moved.
Okay. I think that gets voted when we do the whole vote.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay,
I didn't know if we needed to add that to.
We already did.
we did.
Okay.
Okay, so I think that's all set. And we can now look for a motion to approve items 3.1 through 3.42.
So moved.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and that was everybody, so, okay. Moving on to item 4, resolution to designate official bank depositories.
So moved.
Actually, I need a motion to approve 4.1 and 4.2.
So moved.
Discussion.
John, there's been no changes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that's everyone. Okay. So, item 5, motion to designate the official school newspaper. Discussion. I'm going to remove myself from this and abstain because I work for one of these papers.
And there's been no change.
And they do a great job.
Yes, they do. And I do have to compliment, because the Alma Review really reached out during COVID when there weren't a lot of things to get stuff in the newspaper for Iroquois, so that was appreciated. They really tried. It made a great effort.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, wait. I had to do that again. All in favor? 4, okay. 6-0-1. Okay. A motion to approve items 6.1 through 6.16.
You all set?
So moved.
Discussion.
Again, there's been no change, and in terms, the investment of the funds in 6.1 really has not been very productive over the last years because of interest rates. Just, we have the same little issue going on as every other district and every other place.
School district, we don't have very many options to invest money. We get interest on savings accounts and checking accounts and stuff.
CD.
That's about it.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Michelle? Okay. That's everyone. Motion to approve this school co-sponsored student and community organizations and waive any building use fees for graduation classes, clubs, and student organizations, co-sponsored community organizations.
So moved.
Discussion.
Compared to last year, there were a couple groups in here, I don't remember the names offhand, that were no longer in existence, that had been carried over for years that we took off. But if they come back into existence, we would put them back on because they were child-based.
All in favor? 7, that's everyone. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the facility use charges for the 2021 school year. Is that the right,
21,
those are the right school years?
21, 22, yep.
No, that's not what it says. It says 2021.
Oh, this, on this one, it is 21,
Oh, okay.
22.
All right.
So moved.
There are minimal changes, I think, about 3%, so we could apply, that's what, for cleaning supplies and everything, the minimal increase there.
Still a great bargain for anyone wanting to have a event.
All right, discussion, anyone else? Okay, all in favor? That's everyone? Okay. Number 9, resolution to approve the use of approved voting devices and to designate the annual budget hearing and annual budget vote and board election for the 2021-2022 school year.
So moved.
Discussion. Just to put it out there, looks like it's going to be on Tuesday, May 11th. Is that correct?
That's
That's wrong, because mine's,
that's the hearing, and then a week later, on the May 17th, would be Tuesday, May 10th is the hearing, and then May 17th is the vote. It's always the third Tuesday.
okay.
You have the 17th? Yeah, 10.
Mine gives different dates.
Yeah.
That's okay. All right. All in favor? Okay, that's everyone. The Board of Education renews and reaffirms all existing and revised board policies and regulations. Can I have a motion? Discussion.
Thank you to Erie One Policy Service, because they do a great job keeping us updated with all the changes in the laws, so board can keep moving forward and keep the policies up to date.
Okay, all in favor? That's everyone. Okay, the Board of Education adopts and renews the athletic code of ethics for the 2021-2022 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
The committee on it spent a lot of time reformatting it, just to try to make it easier to read for everyone, which goes well with us working on our communication, so that was great to see. And thank you to everyone on the committee.
Okay, all in favor? That's everyone. Okay, the Board of Education renews and adopts the professional development plan for its annual adoption with the addition of the 2021-2022 school district goals upon Board of Education approval. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Discussion.
Just really thank you to the teachers for, constantly developing and working forward, and I know this year's, I think they're all laying on their floors still. I think I made that comment once before at school. I didn't went home and laid on their floors, so they're starting to wake up. And they've already signed up for different things, and Mary Jo does a great job of putting everything together, so thank you to her.
All in favor? That's everyone. Okay. I need a motion to appoint the 2021-2022 members for the following committees listed in item 13.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Thank you to the people who volunteer their time.
Yes, indeed.
All in favor? Okay. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education affirm its membership in the following cooperatives for the 2021-2022 school year listed in item 14.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This is the most thrilling part of the year for this, going through all these.
All in
It's just
favor?
Well, wait, I was hoping John could give us an in-depth.
I'll quickly summarize. These are two solution groups that we've been a part of for well beyond before I was here, and probably over 5 years in each case. We self-funded workers' compensation. The school districts get together and share that risk. It's kind of our self-funded program to cover workers' compensation losses. It's been working very well. When you compare the rates there, those that you go went to an outside company for that, our rates are definitely better. So that's worked out very well for us. And then the school, Municipal Energy Cooperative, which is called SMEC, we use that phrase as an acronym. They are, again,
I love the word.
we've been to with for a long time, a pool of different school districts that get together and try to pool our buying power to get the best rates for gas and electric. And again, that's worked very well when we compare our rates to what the general public would pay. Much better situation for us, and it's worked very well for us.
Yeah, they actually go right to the market and buy off of it, and we all love saying smack.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, that's everyone. The superintendent recommends the approval of the continued use of the Omni Group as the third-party provider for the district's 403B and 457 plans. Who seconded first? I'm going to give it to Louise. Discussion.
Yes, I would like someone to read their entire, corporate documents for us.
This is a group that reads all our
Thank you.
documents.
Yeah.
Do you want to say anything about it, John, or what they do?
This is actually good. We have two new board members that probably need to know this, so it's all right.
We're required to have a third party to kind of be in the middle between the district and these financial planners that handle 403Bs and 457 plans. They didn't want districts to have deals with different providers, so they make us go through a middle person. So we're required to use the Omni group, and most districts do use the Omni group as that middle person.
Yeah, about 10, 12 years ago, something happened in the financial markets, and this is a requirement to be on there where you could hire your own person on staff that reviews all these, or you could go to a third-party administrator, TPA, and it's much more cost-effective because they're specialized in just looking at these documents.
Can I remind everyone who live streams, they use the microphone for speaking to this?
Okay. All in favor? That's everyone. And we need a motion to approve the joint bidding with Orleans Niagara BOCES, Erie 1 BOCES, and Erie 2 BOCES for items 16, 17, and 18.
So moved.
Discussion.
So these are, we utilize BOCES to gather information from all the school districts participating, and to use, again, they use that buying power of many schools looking for the same items. Why not put it all together, put it out to bid at the same time, and get the best price? So we've utilized these different groups for a while now, and it's worked very well.
All in favor? That's everyone. Okay. Brings us to 19. The superintendent recommends the district participate in federal and/or state and/or county and/or other school district bid contracts.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This allows us to utilize anyone else who's already bid a product so that we don't have to pay for all the bidding and advertisement, that we can just piggyback off of theirs.
All in favor? That's everyone. The superintendent recommends the board approve the following continuing resolution on government donated food.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Do we get much in the way of,
Yeah, this is the federal food program where they come in and, the typical past jokes have been, this is where you get your government cheese.
Right.
But you get a lot of chicken and different products and stuff, and so we do get quite a bit of that supplements the products that we use here. And this allows us to receive this money or these products from the government.
And it's going to help us, I think, continue to provide lunches and breakfasts for all students.
Yes, this
Right.
doesn't have to do with that, but we are continuing free breakfast and lunch for all children that within this Iroquois district. And just so for the people listening at home, you should see on our website now what you would need to do to either pick it up or set up some type of delivery over the summer, because it will continue over the summer.
Right, and there's no, you don't have to sign up, you don't have to fill out a form, right?
The only thing you would have to, we were asking this year to give a notice that you're going to be doing it, so we know how many to produce, but that's it. There's no special form, just, hey, I need 10 meals, 1 meal.
Or
I'd like.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
It's great.
All in favor? That's everyone. Okay. A motion to approve non-contractual pay rate items 21, 22, and 23.
so moved.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion.
I have a question. This is where we're approving the athletic trainer rate?
Yes,
Did we get information on competitive rates and making sure?
Is your mic on?
We did do some, there's some different ways to get that. You get national and there's some, but we didn't get a lot of local. It was hard to find because a lot of districts do just employ companies to do that for them. And they don't usually put an actual hourly rate on it. So it was hard to find that, but we just kind of applied an increase based on a national number that we saw to put a little increase on that, but so.
Yeah, so it was modified and.
Yeah.
What's the game security officer? Just curious.
That would be when we have the sheriff or state trooper come in.
Did we change the substitute rate?
I believe so, John.
Yes.
It was increased to keep pace with the market?
Definitely with the market, we might be a hedge a little bit above some districts, but there are ones that are above us. So, you know, we're not the leader, but we're not,
The worst.
we're middle or a little above middle, we'll say.
Okay.
That was a good idea.
John did all the work.
Yes.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? That is everyone. '24, the superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the following mileage rates to be charged for the 2021-2022 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
So we did look at those rates. Transportation, Eric Nagel looked at our costs, and he adjusted these rates slightly. I don't think they changed very much because every year fuel, diesel goes up and down, so I think they stayed fairly close. Maybe one of these went up maybe a little bit, but pretty close to what they've always been.
And if you look at our annual budget, we have very low increases in transportation, so it kind of does make sense that they're not changing significantly.
Okay, all in favor? That's everyone. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the following resolution on the repair reserve fund.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
So the repair reserve fund, why we're approving it now is when we get to May, if we decide that we would like to put out to the voters to fund the reserve, it's been created. So this just creates the opportunity for us to do something in May. We do it every single year. The past, I don't know how many years, we have decided not to put out a resolution to fund one. So we're just doing it again this year to be prepared for May.
All in favor? That's everyone. The superintendent recommends the adoption of the following companies as sole source providers as listed in item 26.
So moved.
And we say sole source, we're saying these are items, proprietary software and things like that that aren't really things that we can openly bid because we do want a specific service from somebody. So we're saying in these cases, we're not going to submit these to an open bid because it just doesn't make sense when we want these specific softwares.
And the reason we do it annually is just to be clear and transparent to the community so they know exactly what we're doing with these rather than bidding. There's not a requirement to do this, we just do it for that reason.
Okay. All in favor? That's everyone. Okay. We need a motion to approve and established standard work days for the district clerk and district treasurer.
So moved.
Discussion.
It's a requirement that we do it for these two positions annually. There's no other reason.
All in favor? That's everyone.
And we know they go above and beyond.
Yes.
And then items 28 and 29, a motion to approve qualified lead evaluators.
So moved.
Discussion.
This is so we can follow the APR regulations for evaluating staff.
All in favor? That's everyone. Okay, move to special agenda. That's this one?
Yes. Yep. Now we're back to a regular meeting.
We welcome all who have come to observe the meeting of the Iroquois Central School Board's
Sorry.
District's Board of Education. There are 2 periods of recognition of guests listed on the meeting agenda. The first is for comments regarding agenda items. The second is for topics not on the agenda. Speakers may offer comments related to the school operations and programs, but the board cannot hear personnel complaints against any individual associated with the school system. Please address these concerns to the appropriate administrator. If you wish to be recognized, please fill out the appropriate form and turn it into the district clerk. As per policy 1514, public participation at board meetings, public comment is limited to 15 minutes total unless the board suspends this limit. Each person is given up to 3 minutes in which to address the board. Additionally, no more than 3 people may speak on a single topic unless the board waives this limitation. This is a meeting held in public rather than a public meeting, which means we will not be engaging in a dialogue with members of the community this morning. The district personnel will follow up with you regarding your concerns. Rest assured, we are listening carefully and take seriously what you have said. Please demonstrate respect by speaking to the issues, sharing ideas and opinions, but not engaging in personal attacks. The board appreciates your willingness to share your concerns and celebrations. Please be advised that this meeting is being streamed live and the recording will be posted on the Iroquois website. Number 1, public hearing on the safety plan.
Yep, and we have Kevin Bird that's in. He's our safety specialist from our BOCES, so here you go. Give you a mic.
Thank you.
And there's your thing to change the slides.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Superintendent Schofield. As he mentioned, we're taking care of a lot of requirements this morning, and this is another one of those requirements. This required by State Ed to have a public hearing and a 30-day public comment period on your district-level safety plan to precede the adoption of that plan.
We're good. It's broadcasting.
Okay. Let me see if I can advance. Oh, this way, okay. Oh, it's over here? She's on. I think I'm having battery issues, perhaps.
And we tested it 4 times. Maybe we wore the batteries out.
Isn't that always the way? Or maybe it sat too long.
Just click for him, would you, Josh?
Thank you. The district-level safety plan is a result of the SAVE legislation, which was passed in 2000. I'll just wait for that slide. Technology.
Can we go to the next slide, Josh?
As a result of Columbine and instances of SAVE legislation was passed in 2000 subsequent to Columbine. It required school districts to do a number of things relative to safety. They're listed in those bullet points. Develop district-wide safety plans as well as building level plans that focus on crisis intervention and emergency response. Districts are required to have district-wide and building level safety teams. They're required to coordinate with local law enforcement, implement their policies and procedures for training for staff and students. And in 2016, the legislation added required annual violence prevention and mental health training for all staff. Next slide, please. District-wide school safety plans are described here. This is a public document. It's what we are discussing and reviewing today, and the public can comment on. It's a relatively vanilla document because it's a public document. So it contains valuable information listed in those bullet points. How are we going to contact law enforcement in an emergency? How are we going to relay messages to parents, guardians, persons in parental relation? How are we going to utilize our school safety officer, our Officer DePlato, our SRO, identify appropriate responses to emergencies? How is the district going to respond to acts of violence or implied threats of violence? And how are we going to notify parents if their child is planning on doing harm to themselves or someone else? And that's a requirement now as well. But again, public document, relatively vanilla, talks about our policies and procedures, but doesn't give us a whole lot of specifics because we don't, as I used to say, the football team doesn't publish their playbook on the district website. So we don't do that with our safety plans. The meat and potatoes, the specific information is contained in your building level emergency response plans. These are confidential documents, not subject to disclosure under Article 6 of the Public Officers Law. These cover the things that are listed here. They give our cell phone numbers of our administrators. They give our chain of command. They give our evacuation locations on-site and off-site. Things that we may or may not necessarily want to put out, to broadcast out there, because people who may want to do harm can see that. So we keep that to ourselves. Know that your building administrators and their designated safety team members spend an awful lot of time on these this summer. They work on them annually. They're required to submit these to state ed as well. You won't see them. I don't see them. A lot of the folks in the buildings don't see them, but know that your administrators and their teams spend an awful lot of time working on these annually. Okay? New for this year, you will find as an appendix to the safety plan, an additional plan that was required, that districts completed this past spring. Legislation was passed in late 2020 that required districts to prepare a plan that lays out how they're going to respond to a declared public health emergency involving a communicable disease. So in essence, it was, COVID hit. We put things in place, a lot of moving parts, but it was kind of learning on the fly. Okay, and the state determined that, it would be a good idea that if we have to declare a state of emergency in the future, we want to have those plans in place. What are we going to do? How are staff going to be designated? Who's going to work from home? Who's going to have to be at work? What's an essential employee? They wanted all of that laid out in a plan, and so that's what districts were required to do, and that's what Iroquois did. Plans were due April 1st. Input was provided by district administration. Bargaining units were required to review the plan and provide input. So everyone had input on this plan, and it's kind of an easy way for the state to see that it was done and it exists. They said, we want you to tack this on to your district level plan as an appendix. That way we see it, we know it's there, etc. So this plan is referred to as the Public Health Emergency Continuation of Operations Plan, and that is an appendix in this district-wide safety plan. So there'll be a 30-day public comment period. Not sure anyone has ever commented on one of these. But you never know. The plan's out there, and then you will be asked to approve such plan. Okay?
And Erie 2 BOCES went one step further for these plans, where all the districts work together collaborating, so you wouldn't have districts going in multiple directions for Erie 2, that it would be consistent, that if something like this were to happen again, we'd all be moving the same direction, having the same practices for consistency for parents, because we all thought that was very important to hear the same message consistently.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
That brings us to item 2, board discussion and news worth sharing. The first thing is to remind us all that we have district planning conference on July 27th and 28th as a reminder. And if you are not going to be able to attend part or all of it, to notify our district clerk, Mrs. Speck. Okay.
And we do, over the year, different board members mentioned different things they'd be interested in seeing, so we do have that tentative schedule, so I would ask the new president and vice president to stop in afterwards so I can review that with you to make sure that you're seeing the different aspects in there. So it will look a little different than it has in the past years. Some aspects of it will be training for the board or guest speakers coming in to provide you information.
I have the list, so I'll send you the list just to make sure.
Yeah.
Nothing that.
Yeah, no, that'd be great to have a second list.
And then can we also be reminded on the time for those dates?
Yes, I'm trying to remember because we put the times in. I think both days started 8 o'clock, and the first day, I'll say till 3:30, and the second day has board discussion, self-evaluation at the end, and I think that starts about 2:30, so it's however long you guys decide to talk and, develop your board goals for the next year and self-reflect and have those pieces.
Thank you. All right.
And is it here?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, right here.
The next thing to discuss is the board ambassadors and deciding who wants to be the ambassador to the different schools. We have 2 ambassadors for the high school, 2 for the middle school, and 1 for each of the elementary schools.
I'll do the high school.
Okay, Louise?
I'd like to go back to a primary if I could, because I've done high school.
Which one would you like? Marla.
I'll do Alma primary. That's okay.
I'll do middle school.
I'd like to stay in the high school.
That leaves you with either the middle school or Wales.
Middle school would be great.
Middle school. And I will take Wales. Okay. Anything else that people would like to discuss?
And just to remind you too, for the New York State School Boards Association Convention, that if you're planning on attend, we need to know by July 27th. We need to know by July 27th. It's in October.
I can tell you.
24th to the 26th. And where is it this year? It's in New York.
Also, the law conference for Erie County Association of School Boards,
That is
going to be
virtual. It'll be 2 days, spread over 2 days.
And is there a registration process, and when is that due?
I know there is a registration process.
Just got an email of that, very recently.
I'm with you.
Do we register through our district?
This is Erie County
website?
School, just for you two, it's the Erie County School Boards from Dave Lowry. Those are the emails that they're referring to. And what the law conference is, it reviews new court cases coming through. In fact, there's just one on freedom of speech, I guess I would word it that way, for when students are not on school grounds, what rights do they have of how they can talk about comments or things that happened on school grounds.
It's really interesting.
It really is.
It's fascinating, the cases, and that's a good one.
Anything else? Sharon, how did graduation go?
I was just going to say, I want to send out a big thank you to all the administration and the buildings and grounds staff, because I think with the changes coming in so fast up until those last few days, I couldn't keep up. People are, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. I'll check back with me tomorrow.
But that's okay. We didn't know either every day.
That moment, I took a picture of it sitting there, but looking out and seeing all the kids together on the track with, members of your family, and being able to go from 2 and the grandparents being, it's okay, to being able to have everybody there was phenomenal. And I remember you said, it's going to rain. And we're like, nobody cares if it rains. Nobody cared. Everybody was so happy to be there. I think it was really special. It was really neat to see.
Yeah.
And the kids were excited, and it was really nice. So thank you to everybody that made that happen. And I know other people were worried about the rain, but we did it.
Well, and even the rain did come and just sprinkled lightly. It almost cooled people
cooled everybody
off.
down, except us, because we didn't get any
We
rain.
didn't get any on stage, and technology did a great job too, because I know there's a beautiful video of it that I did pass along to the board so everyone can see the graduation. It did highlight some of the aspects of why it's good that we go to our traditional place indoors with air conditioning to stay out of it, but for what we had to do it this year, and with the adjustments that were about 1 week ahead of time, and everyone kept moving and adjusting, it was great.
And another shout out to Renee Lauk, who does not like when we do this, but because the pictures that she has taken for the entire spring of I think every senior athlete, every event that's gone, I don't know how she does them all, and they're so beautiful. I mean, she just did such a good job, and just a gift to the graduating class, in my opinion. So those really made it nice for everybody to be able to see the events, even the ones you couldn't get to. It really meant a lot to everybody, I know.
Yeah. And the fact is that little overcast made it so much better for shooting pictures, because you didn't have the bright sun and the glares and everything. I mean, I know everyone wants a nice, bright, sunny day, but for taking pictures, it was phenomenal.
I was fortunate enough to attend the high school faculty brunch before graduation happened, and it was so nice. And I got to hear a little bit about their plan for incoming freshmen, and they're doing something special for them and just trying to acclimate them to the high school, and it sounds like a great plan. And it was nice to see the retirees, Mr. Tonseline and Mrs. Genders. It was bittersweet because they're both going to be missed terribly, although they will both be back. So that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was really nice to acknowledge everything that everyone in this district has done over the past 18 months, because everyone has really worked very, very, very hard.
I also got a chance to go to the senior award ceremony, and that was really neat. I think it was really nice. It was very different because the families were able to watch the live stream and the kids were there. But it was so nice to see the kids supporting each other. It had a totally different vibe of the award ceremony, but it was really neat, and so many different kids recognized for so many different things by community members. And also, I think that some community groups really raised, the different amounts of a number of awards that they gave, which was really nice for the kids. So it was really nice celebration. It was a little rowdy. That was fun. It was fun to see.
That's because I was in the back sitting with the kids.
It was fun to see.
Any other discussions? Okay, that brings us to the superintendent report.
Okay, so I'm going to add one thing here at the beginning, next school year, because, that's the big question people are asking right now. They want to prepare, what's going to happen next school year, and I really wish I could give people an answer. Just recently, we were operating under the Executive Order 202.6, which gave a lot of rights out from the governor for different organizations, and it's ended, ended about a week or two ago, and so therefore, in listening to SCD and different aspects from them, right now there's internal ambiguity created by the ending of the executive powers from the state of the emergency. So what does this mean? Well, right now, one of the questions they're trying to come up with an answer to is New York State Department of Health legal authority to issue requirements for schools. Where is that compared to the state education? And so the state education department is working on that now. We don't have any guidance at this point, but they're working on that. Also, the number 2 is the governor's authority to control school operation requirements. So typically that's not done by the governor. It happened under executive orders. Usually it takes the whole body, the state, and the Senate and the assemblymen to take care of this. That's not there right now. So what is going to happen? What are going to be the requirements coming? So I really wish I could look at the public and say, no, this is what's going to happen. Currently at this point, the big questions they're trying to answer is mask, distancing, remote instruction. So I would say at this point right now, I would tend to say school would probably look, if I had to pick anything, I would say I'm not going to go too far from where we are right now with some of the 3-foot and things like that, but the remote instruction, I don't see that happening. And when the governor said we're going to end executive orders, he said, well, you need to follow the CDC now. I don't know if he has authority to do that, but he said it because this document here from the New York State Department of Health states that this is only for in-person instruction for the 2020-21 school year. So that's over. And then when you look at the CDC, it talks about fully vaccinated, and it said, let's see, CDC recommends schools continue using prevention strategies outlined, but release guidance on the ability of fully vaccinated people to resume pre-pandemic activities without wearing a mask or physically distancing. It also stated that the CDC will update its guidance for schools in the upcoming weeks, updated guidance for schools for school planning for the 21-22 school academic year, and that was published May 15th. As of right now, I don't have anything. So, we're working over the summer. We think we're in great shape for everything we're doing in the summer. The elementary summer school doesn't start to August, so I would hope we would have better guidance or some guidance by then. If not, I'll probably be looking at like we do with the different camps we have around here. And the summer school that's run for the high school was run through Erie 2 BOCES, so they're taking care of it at this point for that, of what they're requiring, so we're going to watch those models. I'm sorry to say that I don't have the answers. Do you have any questions that I can say I can look into or keep working on it? I will keep the community updated as I learn different things. I know some people are calling in and I'm answering the same way to them, but I wanted the board to know here are the answers I'm giving them at this point.
Yeah, Doug, have they given you or any of the other superintendents any inkling of when we can expect guidance?
I think I read, Chuck, that the updated guidance is coming soon, and that was published May 15th.
Okay, so do we have any indication of when we could be receiving guidance?
Soon. I do know, and I will give this, I know the state education, I mean, I know I have some humor in there and get a little sarcastic sometimes, but I do know this week, the state education department was discussing it. It was one of their primary discussions that they're having right now in trying to answer these questions. So they are working on it. It's not like they're sitting there doing nothing. They are working on it, trying to, because I think some of these state organizations, like the education department, have these questions and they're doing what we're doing. They're looking to say, what is it? What can we do? What should we do? Who should we be listening to? And I think so they're asking the same questions you just asked of, well, when are we going to get this information?
Well, I know SED is looking at the guidance too. Are they able to override the State Department of Health guidance?
That's what they're trying to find out.
Okay.
That's what I believe they're trying to find out, is how much authority does the New York State Department of Health and the governor's authority still control the operations of a school. And then once they know how much that, where and when that comes in, because when you look at a lot of the safety that Kevin was talking about, those were laws, regulations that were passed by the bodies of the state. And that's how they have their authority, because they were written into laws. So therefore, with the executive order ending, these authorities that weren't written into law ended, so now what are they operating under?
Is there any inkling that more authority and decision-making will filter down to the district level, or is it going to be, the one-size-fits-all that the state loves to do?
I don't know, because no one really wants to go on the limb and say where it is. I think, you look at past practices, I think there definitely will be some one-size-fits-all, but I hope in there they put avenues that if something is happening in your area, you can react differently. They did that with the zones that they had before with the yellow and orange and red, so if they could have something like that where you look internally. I know we're talking with Erie County Department of Health, who clearly states that their authority comes from the New York State Department of Health, and they have to follow what New York State does. So I know that they're going to be looking for that overreaching guidance, and so what avenues are they going to have with that?
At the county level, again, because we have so many players in this, determination, can the Erie County Department of Health be more or less restrictive than the State Department of Health?
Typically how authority goes and how I look at it is you can always, as you start with the federal government coming down locally, you can always be more restrictive, never less restrictive.
Okay.
But Erie County, typically during the COVID situation, said that we take they look to New York State, and that's who the schools need to listen to. They just might make a recommendation, but ultimately it's up to the school to follow what New York State says. So they definitely were pointing their fingers. I know that we've been having some meetings with them, and they're looking to partner with schools a lot more. There's some federal money that came into them, and first we started talking, and then they really came to see how partnering with schools, talking to superintendents. There's a committee of superintendents. They're even looking at mental health to see if some funds can be used for that, in trying to support the schools and learn, and really listening to what happened over the last 18 months. If something has to be done to do it better, and this was more in terms of testing and having test sites available, because one of the greatest issues was students not being in school because they might have a cold and have a symptom, and they're looking to mitigate any of that to the greatest extent possible.
So
But
you're
again,
left in the
it's-
same situation as last year where you're really planning for like Plan A, Plan B?
I'm really trying to come up with a couple multiple plans, and I know it's very frustrating, and I I get the closed posture because I hate it, because I'd like to tell I'd like to tell everyone this is what we're doing, because I'd like to plan ahead, think ahead, and we can't right now. All we know is, we're going to take care of learning loss over the summer. I'm going to go over that in a minute, and going to keep moving forward with having plans, different scenarios, working with the principals, and really this first week of July, I'm not really asking and having many discussions on it with them, because the people just need a break. They need to decompress, not carrying their emotions, not carrying their feelings, and see where they need to go, and then we'll start talking about what possibilities, what I hear going on out there, and it'll really come from what SCD thinks. And I'm hoping in July we will get guidance on it of where they think things are going to go. As Kevin said, we had to add something in our safety plans if things go sideways, but right now there's I think in our local area we're doing very well with everything. Like we're able not to wear masks here because of the CDC guidance and people not being vaccinated, so there's a lot more possible exposure going on out there, but I don't see, from what I'm monitoring, a huge increase in cases. There will be things like the fairs, and we'll see what comes out of different events that happen over the summer that'll give us nice insight for what could possibly happen at schools. And we'll be looking at what a lot of our staff, all the ones that want to be vaccinated, have been vaccinated. Because that's very readily available to people. Same thing with students, 12 and up. I think we're still at for getting vaccinated. The ones who desire to do that are able to do that. And that's another great question, thinking of vaccination. People are saying, why is it going to be a requirement come next year? Right now it can't be, because it's not an approved, it's an emergency approval. So if and when that becomes a vaccination that is approved, what will the state do? Will it add it to its list of required vaccines or not? I don't know. I don't know. I know the governor's made some comments about it, but I don't know what will happen, and he doesn't have executive orders now, so it'll take additional people besides himself to do anything in that action. So if you have a feeling one way or the other, this is a great way, a great time to contact your local, or to contact your state representative to state your feelings to them of what you would like. Contacting me is great, but really, I have some people saying X and some people saying Y. You need to contact your state representatives. Questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, just that from past practice, we know that you will keep us updated as soon as you hear anything, right? And it's
even when I don't know something, I'll tell you I haven't learned anything, like I'm doing today.
That's funny.
I feel kind of silly saying it, but I haven't learned anything.
But you'll keep the same communication avenues open, and you'll use ConnectEd and contact people as soon as you hear anything, and you monitor all of these different agencies and levels and federal, state, county, superintendent groups. You're super involved in that. So,
we have meetings once a week, and I'm involved with like I said, with the Erie County Department of Health. I was able to get on those select committees, so I am really trying to stay up to speed with it. And probably about the middle of July, if I still don't know anything, I'll put a connect out to the public, just saying I'm still waiting for guidance.
But we also know that as you just signed the oath of office, just like we all do when we take office, that, and we've seen recently that if we don't follow the rules, then our funding and our certifications can be put at risk.
Yes.
And that is not in the best interest of the district.
No, with the amount of state funding we get, it would really be detrimental to the instructional, our core mission of instruction.
And unfortunately, that's out of our hands.
Correct. And they've shown they've done it. I mean, recently we saw a case that was right here with a neighboring district, but also during the year, there were some actions done around Long Island and the same events took place.
Right.
So.
I just also want to mention that we have put things in place, to Chuck's point about local control and things that we can do to mitigate risk. When we did the air handlers
Yes.
throughout the buildings, some of the recommendations or requirements could be along those lines, that we need fresh air in the school and that will allow more students to be in the classrooms.
Yep.
And we have that in place, so that was good foresight. And I think that if we can put ourselves in the best position so that if there are requirements that need to be met to open, we will be there.
Yep, and that's exactly it, of
yeah.
trying to look at what they've talked about. And, they've really gone down, I'll say, 3 paths for schools. One is wearing masks, the other is distancing, the other is air quality, what you can do to have windows open. And I think we're one of the few, if not the only district in Western New York that has ionization, that actually, rather than trying to pull the virus across the room into a filter, that it actually goes out into the room and breaks down the particles. And we only didn't put it in for COVID, but it also helps with allergies, flu season, and everything else. So that we're really a forerunner with that one. So that was a great thing we were able to do. So thank you to that, because the board was, supporting that. So thank you. Any other questions about the unknown? All right, I'll move into the federal grants and planned hiring. So to keep the board up to speed of what we're doing, and this is really, we're looking at the grants, and John will jump in, and Mary Jo, if I do anything, if I get off script at all. But the grants are over a couple years, and so really what I'm telling you is what we're thinking about for 2 years. And follow the words thinking about, because as things change, if we're looking at learning loss and we're doing better than expected, we would make a change. If we find a greater need, we would make another change. So this is based on meeting with principals and them looking at their districts. It's supporting the administration in what they're looking for. So to provide social emotional support, they felt it very important to have another behavioral specialist. We see a lot of need with students coming back. And with students coming back at the end of the year, you're able to see the emotions and what they were coming in with, and that would be a district-wide. Another social worker on the main campus, and a counselor at the elementary level. With those, it's really from the needs the students were demonstrating at the different buildings. And again, this is part of the grant, which ends in 2 years. So we're not looking to have these be long-term positions. However, as we see the need, and at the district planning conference, KJ, the Director of Special Education, will be presenting on behavioral issues and where we're seeing the change of students, so therefore we're making intelligent decisions as we move forward and informed decisions. To address learning loss, they're looking at 3 RTI, and I call them RTI for learning loss because that's response to intervention at the elementary level. And on campus, 2 teacher assistants. And we're having summer school for the elementary level. We've always had summer school for the high school level, but now we're having elementary summer school for the next 2 years. And there's a process that the principals are going through, selecting the students, sending out invitations to parents, inviting them here. And we're actually holding it on the main campus. The reason on the main campus is we're thinking of childcare. And with the EMW Boys and Girls Club right across the road, the parents could drop them off here in the morning, and then we would take care of them, or the Boys and Girls Club would, until they would pick them up at the end of the day. Professional development, we are looking to add an additional 3,000 hours in there, and this is for addressing learning loss, tracking, and testing to make sure teachers are evaluating the students to know what skills they have in the classroom, and then to know which students should be sent out to the RTI process so they are getting the supports. And the RTI process, you have to remember, it's not you're sent there and you stay there. It's you go there, I'll say you're having trouble with fractions for some reason, you get your support there, you get your foundation, and then you're done. We do not expect kids there for extended periods of time. Facility repairs for air quality, which we just talked about. In elementary, we're going to do some work on the exhaust fans in the gymnasiums, and there are 3 classrooms with windows that we were looking to do in the $100,000 projects that we're going to expedite their repair, because you open the windows, there's a lot of leaking and different things that go on with water coming in, so we're going to get those 3 rooms taken care of. And those are 2 of the 3 grants, because the ARP is still coming and we're waiting for some guidance on that, so we still have additional funds that we'll be coming back with of saying how we're going to spend them. We're looking at the requirements for that. So I'll look to John, Mary Jo, is there anything I went off task, and to the board for any questions?
All of this is coming through, the funding for this is coming through these grants?
All the funding is coming through the federal grants for all of this.
So the capital expenditures in the gymnasiums, were those planned already?
The windows we were looking to do, we do every year, we do like $100,000. So
Right.
we actually went out to bid to do all the windows this time, but with the price of materials, we could only afford to do 2 out of the 5. And so then we'd have done them a following year and a following year. So yes, they were planned for that, but with trying to get the air quality, airflow going through, we'll expedite it. We always have $100,000 of work we can do, so it's not like we're going to run out. And we thought it'd be much better to have the teacher be open the windows and let the fresh air in. The exhaust fans, we just want to get a greater airflow for the temperature in those, because if the students are in there running around, if they have to wear masks, and also it brings in greater fresh air. They weren't in the current capital projects, because even though it's something that could be done, it wasn't a necessity compared to other things, and the cost of them isn't hugely significant, which is why we think this is a great opportunity to put them in and take care of them.
And what about universal pre-K?
Universal pre-K is that's not in these 2 grants. That's its own $210,000 grant, and so we're still moving forward with that. We have an RFP out in the newspaper. We put it out last week or the week before, so we're getting proposals back from outside vendors to help, and we were looking to do 1 class probably at their facility and then 1 at our facility to move forward with that. Is that correct, Mary Jo?
Correct, and what we're waiting for is New York State to release the application that needs to be completed by July 31st. So that's our next step. RFP, I think, is July 20th.
And to remind everyone, it has to be a full-day program, and the state said there's how many kids can be in it?
A full-day program with 19 students, and the reason why we are looking at 1 location to be off-site would be for wraparound services, so that if a parent needed before or after care, it would be available to them, and then we would also have 1 housed at one of our elementary schools.
The application, is that for the grant itself, or is it for approval of our pre-K program, or both?
It's basically both, and we're told that it's not going to be too cumbersome, but they just needed to work out a couple of the questions.
Okay, but the application needs to be submitted by July 31st, that's correct? That's the deadline?
That's their deadline, but they said that that we should not wait for approval, that we should apply and keep going.
Right, because, I mean, we're looking, basically the month of August to get an approval back from them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're cutting it pretty close.
They said for us not to be, even though we're type A personalities, of, we want to get this done and we want to get it in. They said not to let it cause any of us to stumble, just keep
Yeah.
going.
Well, my concern is, Mary Jo, because the application is for both the grant and the program itself.
John, can you?
That if we, continue to move forward and then we don't receive approval, I would take it that we would not receive the grant money.
That's why I'm turning to John, because I think the money has already been.
I've been in districts that have the UPK grant, and it's pretty much an automatic thing. They want some basic paperwork of a budget form, FS10 they call it. So you just plug in your numbers that they want. That's an official thing that they want. That's pretty much all you need to get approved to use the funds. So it is pretty much an automatic allocation to us.
Okay.
The funds have been allocated to us, we just have to prove that we're using it
We're
for
just
the right thing.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to say it.
Yeah.
Can where did the number 19 kids, is that what you said, 19, where did that come from? Because it seems like other districts are getting,
Yeah, a total of 38.
Total of 38 students. They call it slots that they are making available with this money. This
do we
money
have any
should
idea
support.
what our demand is for those spots? Like, do we have any sense?
I would say it's probably greater than that, knowing
So people won't
over the
know
conversations
until
years.
August what they're going to be
Well, we're
able to
still
do?
moving forward with it, so we're
Okay.
hoping to get that out before that. That's why we already have the RFP out.
And what's the
And then,
plan for how?
We may need to have what they consider to be a lottery system. And so we're working on that right now.
anything else?
Just a request for the planning conference to have these grants kind of outlined and how much was each one and what they were designated for and then what we're using them for. I think that would be helpful just to see it instead of like talking about all this stuff, especially with, new people, because I know that sometimes we talk in
You can put that in your
acronyms
finance.
and it's hard to follow.
Okay.
So.
Yep, I do a
That would be
financial
helpful. For me too.
presentation, and I'll add that onto it. Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
Because we don't want to hear about reserves anymore.
Yeah.
Because we do every year.
Yeah.
Every year.
I mean, it's important too.
They're important too, but, well, we'll still hit them because we have to, but I do admit I do get bored with them. Summary of the school year. And I pause, I don't know what to say because I'm tired. I got to tell you, I'm tired. And I said it earlier, that the teachers are tired, the families are tired, the students are tired. But in looking at different results, I'll pick the words basic education or sound education, sound instruction, passing exams. I'll say that's typically what it is compared to mastery level. And we only had limited number of Regents exams, but even looking at those compared to other years, our mastery level was down a little bit. But we had pretty close to the same percentage passing them, and these weren't required this year. So if a student was going to blow one off and say, I'm not going to study, this was the year, so you'd really expect a big drop.
What was that participation rate?
Oh, I was told 80%, I want to say. I mean, it was high. Like some other districts are saying 4 people showed up.
Yeah.
We had like 100 and some show up out of a class of 170, so.
Right, I believe the math and the science classes had a lower participation rate, but it wasn't drastic. I believe the ELA was the one that was a bit harder hit, but again, it wasn't terrible. I want to say in the algebra, there was well over 100.
Oh, yeah, I'm saying like 120, 130, somewhere in that range. And that's why you got to take it for what it's worth. There wasn't a required, which students didn't show up. You can put in where you want it, but you couple that along with, like, we looked at Ames Web throughout the year and iReady and different other assessments we did. And we're still looking at it, but the preliminary stuff is our teachers and students and families did very, very well. not saying there wasn't learning, and remember when we say learning loss, it's learning that didn't take place. So, and you talk to teachers about how much material did they get through. And they said, well, we got most of, or all of it done, or some even got more than all of it done. And then the next question is, well, you got it done, but what was the competency? Did students understand it? Were they able to have intelligent conversations in your classroom from your, just based on your professional knowledge? And the teachers are nodding and say, yeah, there was people really did well with it. So, knock on wood, I don't want to jinx us or anything, but preliminarily, it looks like we're in good shape, which comes back then, if we address the areas that there are gaps in the sound education, there could be shifting in how we're spending the grants. So I really want to commend the entire Iroquois family community, and by that I mean students, teachers, staff, parents, administrators, board, that it really instructionally went well. And that's what I think you see with the principals talking, and you saw providing social emotional support. That's where the biggest, some of the greatest concerns we have moving forward, even though students have been back, how are they going to react, how are they going to continue moving forward, because there are going to be some students that are absolutely fine. And there's other students that are going to develop new concerns. And when I say concern, it's not a bad thing, just something that happens in your life that you have to have time to talk and work through and then learn and grow from it. And they need the support to do that. So overall, I think Iroquois did very, very well. Questions, comments? I mean, you guys are out there, you talked to friends, and
I just wanted to commend the families and the teachers and the students who did sit and did plow through those Regents exams, because quite frankly, it was very tempting to just take the exempt, but because of the confidence that the teachers gave the students, they took the risk, and they will benefit from this experience. It's not easy, but I think it builds students' confidence as they go on in future years and face challenges that it didn't hurt them in either way, but yet they still saw it through. And the cheerleading that the teachers gave the kids was instrumental in that happening.
I'm glad that we're sharing that, because you start to see a lot of news stories are coming out about the, years of learning loss, and I think it's important to hear what actually happened here, and,
right.
and to commend that. And I agree that the bar, I think Iroquois bar stayed high. And I think, when you think about the number of AP tests that people took and things like that, having to teach it, you think about teaching science or math, things that you need to be there, you need to be in person. And everybody just being like, we're going to make it work, we're going to make it work. But the kids and the teachers and being in it together, I mean, that's what I talked about at graduation. I think this group of kids have figured it out, and they're ready.
Yeah.
We're fighting over the microphone.
Yeah.
Just trying to keep it away from me.
We'll use the grant money to buy one more mic for you guys.
I'll sit over there next time.
No, I don't do it.
I just wanted to say too, though, that really the families, the staff, and the students all pulled together so much this year. And as I was at the high school brunch, they were talking about the incoming freshmen. And my son is going to be a junior this year. And then I was thinking about the incoming, and he had made a comment about the last time he took a Regents exam, he was in 8th grade. I'm like, he's a junior, and now his last Regents exam was in 8th grade. So I'm thinking about the incoming freshmen this year. Their last normal year of school was 6th grade.
Correct.
And now they're going to high school.
Wow, that's amazing.
Right?
To realize.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So even though this year was kind of physically odd, with people staying home and coming back, this incoming school year, pre-K through 12, is also going to be a challenge, and we just need to be gentle with each other and the faculty and staff and the students. And I think that those support people that you're talking about are going to really be critical. And just remember that it's in a freshman kid's life, they're 14 maybe, and 2 years of their school is gone. That's a seventh of their life. Like, it's a big chunk of time. So just putting it out there for people to yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big deal. And they face things that we don't know they faced at home. You know, there's been family loss, a lot of it, and it's just going to be, COVID isn't over, I guess is what I'm saying. The effects of COVID are
The
not
wake of
over.
it.
We're going to be dealing with them for a while.
And I also think too, from the point of view of the faculty and staff, you know, and I can go from my experience, right? So like that Friday the 13th, 2020, you got to figure out how to do this. Like, we had to figure out what to do. That was emergency teaching. That was like, what am I going to do on Monday? Then this year changed and changed and changed, and everybody had different experiences. Now, hopefully, heading back into this normalcy, but it is not normal. There are all these things that we've learned that we have to really reinvent again. You know, I'm thinking, what did I learn with remote teaching that now I want in the classroom? To really, we're not going back to the way it was, and so how are we going to change moving forward to harness the great stuff that happens and then keep the things that we know work? That's going to be another different year. It really is.
Yeah. And that's where thankfully we have so many professional teachers here that they are thinking exactly like you are right now about that. And we have to be careful of our words too, because if you talk about online learning, like you think, you know, you see the advertisements for colleges where you get your degree online and things like that, that almost became a dirty word now. So how we talk about things and how we frame things have to be thought about differently, just to put everything in perspective. But I'm really proud of what Iroquois did this year. I think they really did a great job. Anything else for the school year? If not, I'll move on to capital project. Capital project right now, I'm pleased to say it's moving through state ed. They are reviewing the different plans, so that's going very well. I am going to, one of the things I have on for the district planning conference is having campus and our architect come in to review everything. We are looking still on our timeline. If you go to the website, it talked about going out for bids early fall and having construction start in the fall. We are still looking to do that. We are, you know, knock on wood, we're still on that timeline. I'm working with the coaches on the turf field for all the different striping, because really we've got pretty much everything set in the buildings that we believe. I have asked for one set of drawings with any possible update, because SED does ask for certain maybe tweaks of firewalls, so we'll get one plan that'll be consistent, that we'll go over, and you'll just be updated on that, and then we'll go out for bidding and keep moving forward. Any questions on the capital project?
Just one, Doug, any indication from anyone as far as the increase in material cost? Is that going to have, is there any anticipation that that's going to have, you know, a major impact on our
right
project
now,
and bids?
I'll let campus and them, you know, in July answer that, because, you know, at one moment we're thinking, yes, we're a little more concerned, and other moments no, when you see bids coming in of where they are, because there's not a lot of work out there. So you have the cost of materials compared to the cost for the labor and having people do the work. They're kind of balancing each other right now, and one of the things is the opening of the border with Canada, because we get a lot of different materials and supplies from that. So if that changes, I just heard this morning that the housing market is starting to change a little bit. You know, it's been very favorable for selling. I've heard preliminary things that's starting to change, which means then new builds might be coming online and the cost of those. So again, very preliminary, so we'll have to wait and see. But one nice part about it is if it's moving through SED the speed it is, and the bids aren't favorable where we want them, we can always rebid it. we will have time to rebid it and still, because we're planning on, having a majority of the work done by September of '22. So therefore, should have time to rebid it and still hit that timeline.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking, I was talking to a contractor yesterday, and he was saying that the bids that he gives now are only, he makes them good for a 7-day period only, because there is such a fluctuation,
Right.
In supplies. He said, but it's not all up. He said, it depends on what it is. Some prices are, going down drastically, others are, still rising, so.
Yeah, and it really depends on what aspect of it. So that's one thing we're going to start talking about what we're going to put in alt bids. So therefore, we can accept the main bid, but not accept these pieces because they might be too high. And that's also to protect, because we can only spend what the voters approved. So to protect that aspect. Summer school update. I think we've touched on this quite a bit. Is there anything more you want to say about it, Mary Jo?
Just that the invitations have been sent out to the parents. We are still receiving them, and principals are contacting families just to confirm. So we hope to have final numbers within the next week.
All right. And then some quick recognitions. So the varsity softball is Division A2 champions. They defeated Will South.
Nice.
Varsity baseball, Division A2 champions. They defeated Star Point, and I'm being told it's the first ever undefeated season in the Iroquois history of baseball.
Wow.
So congratulations to them.
Yeah, they did.
Girls varsity lacrosse advanced to playoffs as the 8th seed, and they lost in the quarterfinal round. The boys varsity lacrosse entered playoffs as the 4th seed, and they won the first round but lost in the quarterfinal. Boys tennis finishing 3rd overall in the division, and 4 athletes qualified for the ECIC championships. Track and field, the girls ECIC division, or the girls ECIC division champions, and we did have one of their athletes had 2 section champions in the 800 and the 1500, and the 4x4 girls team finished 2nd overall at sectionals, and we had 3 additional 4th place finishes. And the boys, we had a section champion in the 110 hurdles. We had another one that was 2nd overall in the sectional in the 1600, and we had 3rd overall at the sectionals in the pentathlon. So congratulations to all of them. What I even like announcing even more has the student, is the team student athletes. So our varsity baseball, undefeated, and their overall average was a 62. The softball was, their overall average was a 95.
62.
Or sorry, 92. Let me turn my paper over. Yeah, that looks so much better. I'm so proud of those boys getting to 62. They're the stars out there.
You're
because they
scaring
won.
our new board members.
Yeah, and notice you correct Mr. Schofield every so often. So we'll start again. So I'm proud of the boys baseball team with a combined GPA of 92, and the softball with the girls with a GPA of 95. The boys varsity lacrosse, the GPA of 90. The girls varsity lacrosse had a 97. I keep wanting to say 60 now, this is in my mind. The boys outdoor track and field was a 96, almost 97. The outdoor girls track and field was a 98. The boys tennis was a 97, and the varsity wrestling was 90, over 90. So congratulations to all of our athletes, not only in how they participated in the sports, but how well they did, especially getting above a 60. So, and that's all I have for my report. I'm on vacation already.
Not yet.
Not
Okay.
yet, another day.
Recognition of guests. Do we have any guests?
We do not.
We do not. Discussion on agenda items. Anybody have any discussion on our agenda items?
You will be voting on Laura Greibel here, we're looking to hire as a music, and she's here in attendance, so welcome her. And I believe she's a past graduate of Iroquois.
Ah, wonderful.
just on the, oh, God. 6.3.7.7, there's just one that is different, and I just wondered, I'm guessing it's contract, but is there,
Yes, contract. It would be, you have to, there's a step schedule, so if they're lower, it's how many, if they've served before or not.
that's kind of what I thought. Okay, thank you. And is this where the fuel agreement is? Yeah, 7.13.
713.
The fuel agreement with the town of Elma?
Okay, yeah, what's your question? I don't even need to find it.
Elma did not, the town of Elma did not agree to that.
Correct. So what it is, and actually I was in communication with the town supervisor. Both of us have to vote on it and agree upon it.
Mhm.
One of us goes beyond the other. So they're still in discussions about it. For us, the fuel pumps here, they use our gas, I should say use our gas. We purchase the gas, they pay for the service of coming up here and using it. So it works very well for us because it's already here. And so we're all in place that if they want to come on and continue sharing the agreement, we're in great shape to do it. If they wish to buy their own tanks, then they would not enter into it. This is one of the things we entered in a long time ago as municipal sharing, because when you're so close, why have two monitoring systems, two tanks and so on? But if they can find a more cost-effective way of doing it, we're okay if we approve it, and they don't, I will just never sign the agreement.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
They won't sign, right, it's
Yeah.
both parties have to sign.
Both parties have to sign it, and there's
Yeah.
always one of us adopts it before the other person. So maybe next year we'll be having a discussion about it, because if we're moving the tanks somewhere else, do we want them to pay for it? Now, we're not planning on it, so please, public, don't read into what I'm saying, there's nothing there.
Yeah, I hope that they're looking at the whole cost of,
I'm sure that,
installing new tanks and having another monitoring system, and it's nice to have that joint partnership.
Yeah, and that's why I'm sure they're doing their due diligence for the town and looking at it, so.
And does it help us at all with, I don't know, volume of gasoline that we purchase? Do we get like volume discounts?
We use so much,
Not
it really doesn't help us too much with that, because we're filling our buses up, some of them every day, some every other day.
Yeah.
And the system, maintain the system, then that's just the back office things, no matter what we would have it.
Right.
And if they would rather have the tanks on their property, I've talked to Eric about it, then they want to maintain them and we go there. That's another option, so that might be something we go down in the future, because tanks are metal and they do rust out every so often. So, we're not close to any idea. It's what is going to be the best for the taxpayers. That's really what it comes down to with this.
Right.
And that's what our concern is.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other discussion? All right, can I have a motion? Wait. Is there a request to withdraw specific items from the agenda? No. A request to add specific items to the agenda? Okay, then can I have a motion to approve agenda items 6.1 through 7.13?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? That is everyone.
And congratulations to Laura, you're ours now. No. Welcome back to Iroquois, glad to have you back. Glad to have you come home.
Okay, and that brings us to 8, executive session for the purpose of discussing employment of a particular person.
Contract, where we have a contract one.
A contract?
Yep.
Okay.
So moved.
Discussion. Okay, all in favor? That's all of us. All right, and then when we return from executive session, it will be only for the purposes of adjourning the meeting.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, are we staying here or are we going to?
We'll go across the hall. I think that would be more effective with the broadcasting system we have here.
people. Okay, and can I have a motion to adjourn our meeting?
Oh, wait, are we live? Yep. We're good.
All in favor?
All right.
Opposed?
Thank you for coming in
Meeting is
this
adjourned.
morning.